Fucking boo.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the very first episode of Fucking Boo, Bombing Stories with Jay. On this inaugural, the original episode, I wanted to have my good buddy, Kane Holloway,
Boo!
tell one of my favorite bombing stories. And this is a bombing story from the green room. So please, Kane, please tell us your fucking boo, your bombing story.
Well, Jay, I've had quite a few bombing stories in the green room. And, you know, you've been there for quite a bit. We've seen each other bomb pretty hard and heckle each other during that time. But this one was, I'm not, you know me, I'm not someone who's like particularly
funny.
Wow. I didn't know. Okay. Well, this was fun. I had a great time. I bomb on the bombing show.
Yeah.
I don't care about like celebrity. It's not like something that like I care that much about. Like there's a few guys I get like really amped up for, and this guy is not particularly one of them. And this is the time that I met David Alan Grier and had to open for him. And I'm working at the parlor, and you're not there for some reason. You were the house MC, and for some reason you're out. I can't remember what it was, but it was like I was featuring, and I think maybe like Ruppel was hosting or whatever. Anyway, so I get there early, and I'm sitting there, and I got my notebook out, and I have the waitress comes in and asks if I would like what I want to drink, and I asked for a beer. This is when I drank, and she goes, "Are you gonna want one for when you're on the stage?" Oh no, wait. So she leaves and she comes and gives me my beer. And then when she gives me my beer, when it's still just me in the green room, she asks if I'm going to want one for when I'm on stage. And I said, yeah, sure. So she leaves and I'm sitting there, full beer, haven't touched it yet. Got my notebook out, sitting in this green room that has like long benches too.
Yes. So,
and it's a pretty decent sized green room. A lot of people can fit in this room. And all of a sudden the manager comes in and he turns and he looks at me and he's like, get up right now, pick up your stuff, get up, Dag is coming, and he can sit wherever he wants. He can sit wherever he wants. So I need you to get up.
By the way, sorry to interrupt you, but is this the first time you're seeing the manager that day?
Yeah, this is the first time I'm seeing the manager.
That's great. Very professional. Oh, Jesus Christ. I guess we should start over. People are in the background. All right, go on. First time you're seeing him today.
Yeah, this is the first time I'm seeing the manager today. And I don't know, I've only met him a handful of times. And this is like the first time I'm like really working the club and meeting the guy and working with him. And he comes in frantic, makes me pick all my stuff up, and he goes, I want him to be able to sit wherever he wants. Like he can pick and choose what goes on this weekend. And I was like, okay,
the king is
fine.
Coming.
Yeah. So I pick my beer up, I put my stuff in my backpack, and then I move my backpack to the side, and I'm holding my beer. And the manager leaves, and I'm just standing in the green room by myself holding a beer for several minutes.
Okay, so when he came in, he said, get up. He's coming in here. He can sit where he wants.
Yeah.
So you grab all your shit. And then he walks out. He wasn't like bringing David Alan Grier in right then.
No.
So, all right, so I got you. So you're sitting now, or you're standing, excuse me. You're standing in the green room right now. All your shit in your hands.
Yeah. Standing there holding my beer. Stuff's off to the side. Thinking Dag was going to walk right in. And he doesn't. And now it's so long, I feel like he's playing a prank on me. So I'm like about to sit down, like I'm about to put my beer down, and all of a sudden the door swings open into the green room and closes around me.
So you're behind the door as it opens into the green room. So you're in that little corner, basically.
Where the lamp is.
Yeah. So, all right.
So
you're behind the door.
So now I'm behind the door. And I went to go and push the door open, like, hey, there's someone behind here. Someone has their hand and their foot blocking the door. And I got this full beer that I haven't touched yet. So now I'm like trying not to spill it on me. and like push the door. There's like 9 people in this green room now. Dag is, I think he's in there. I can't tell. I can't see anything. I just hear, sit. You can sit here. You can do this. Blah, blah, blah. It's like all this commotion. Finally, someone lets the door go, and it swings open at that exact same moment. At the exact same moment that David Alan Grier has now looked up to see the door swing closed, and there's just
almost like a reveal.
Yes. Like a magic trick, like in The Prestige. I'm just standing there holding my beer behind the door.
Excuse me. Oh, fuck. And knowing how you dress, this isn't shitting on how you dress, but I mean, like, you're probably maybe in a t-shirt or nothing, like you're not like in a suit jacket, like ruffle.
Like, I'm like wearing usually
maybe a hoodie.
I'm wearing right now. Yeah.
So for all he knows, you're a construction worker on break having a beer at the parlor and just wandered into the green room.
I could be an audience member.
Yeah.
There's literally no indication that I'm part of the show. And the manager doesn't say anything because he won't stop talking. Like he is just talking nonstop to David Alan Grier. And so there's no point for me to like launch in. And I'm hoping the manager will turn, see me, go, oh, by the way, that's your feature tonight. That's, even if he didn't remember my name, just to say, hey, that's your feature tonight. The guy holding the beer standing behind the door. And Dave,
like a fucking creep.
Yeah, he doesn't do any of that. He doesn't introduce me. He goes on this long tirade, and then he finally goes. So as he's going on this tirade, the door opens, and I like get my way around it, and I'm like, okay, I'll sit by this corner where the door can't swing and close me in anymore.
You're still standing.
Still standing, holding my beer, and the waitress comes in, and the waitress has my stage beer now. And since I still don't know where I'm sitting, she goes, here's your stage beer, hands it to me. Now I'm standing there holding 2 full beers, standing, while the manager is talking at David Alan Grier. Standing there, quiet, holding my beers. And the manager gets done with his little tirade, and he goes, okay, and I'll send the waitress in. She just left, turns and looks at me, holding my 2 beers, and he goes, I'll go back and get her. Take a seat wherever you like. Turns around, and right before he leaves, he looks at me, holding my 2 beers, points directly in the middle, into my face, and goes, don't get drunk tonight, and then leaves.
Still hasn't introduced you.
No.
Oh, fuck.
So David doesn't know who I am,
yeah.
and I just got yelled at to not get drunk tonight, like it's the problem of the night.
Yeah, he hasn't introduced you. So for all David knows, you're a regular there. Who knows? Maybe you're the green room attendant, but you drink on the job, and it's a big concern with the club. So,
and I'm like, my dad owns the parlor, but I'm not good enough to have a better job than the toilet attendant guy.
Yeah. Oh, fuck! Don't get drunk.
Don't get drunk tonight, okay? And then leaves. Now I have no prior. There's no like prior instance of that he's calling towards. Right. He's just making a declarative statement out of thin air, and he yells at me in front of David Alan Grier and then sits down. So now I didn't know what to do, so I just didn't say anything because I've been quiet this whole time. So I sit my beers down and I sit where I was already sitting.
Oh.
I sit back down.
The other thing that's funny too is it's like, what's your opener to David Alan Grier? Like, right after he says, "Don't get drunk," are you supposed to be like, "I don't really drink. This is just," or I mean, do you say, "Hey, I'm a comic," and this? What is your? I don't know what your opener is. Yeah, but you still haven't said anything. I
haven't said a word. Even after he yelled at me, "Don't get drunk tonight," I haven't said anything.
Okay, and you just sat down in the original place you were sitting anyways.
Yeah.
What a fuck. Oh, God, that manager.
So I pulled my notebook out, and I think it was David was like, hey, man, I'm David Alan Grier. And I was like, hey, I'm Kane. I'm featuring tonight. And he was like, got it. Okay, great. Now we're on, but I still feel like really awkward.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like, okay. I'm just not going to say anything. I just won't talk. and I go up, and I don't bring my beers up.
Your stage beer.
The host does great, and then I get up and I do okay. I do fine.
Yeah.
Nothing crazy.
6 out of 10.
Yeah. So I feel awkward. I had an okay set. I'm irritated at the manager for saying what he said and making me look like an ass. And they were running 2 features that night. So the second feature goes up after me. I think it was the guy that was with David. So you can call me essentially like a glorified guest spot, but I did like feature work. And I go back into the green room, and I also ordered food. I ordered tacos. So I'm like standing there, and I'm like, okay, that's where I'm sitting. And David is all by himself now. His entourage is gone. There's no staff back there. The other comics are not in the green room. It's just me and him. And he looks up at me. He's got his headphones in, and he goes, "Hey man," he's on his phone. So he's like, "Hey man, good set." And I said, "Thank you." And then for some,
by the way, sorry, I know I'm interrupting you. For the listeners or people viewing this on YouTube, right now is where this becomes my favorite story. As this start from here forward, this is all right. Okay, so he says, "Good set." You go, "Thank you." Wide-eyed,
Yeah.
Oh, the headliner said I had a good set. Thank
I
you.
used to watch him on stuff. I used to watch him Living Color. He was funny in Jumanji. Can't wait. In the Army now, great. So he said, "Nice set," which I'm almost 100% positive he didn't watch my set, and he was just being nice.
Yes. Had his headphones in, probably was listening to music, didn't hear a word.
Yeah, probably was listening to his own set the night before to get ready for tonight's show.
Yeah, he might have even been talking to himself. "Hey, man, Dag, good set on that last one you're listening to." And you were like, "Oh, thank you."
Yeah. Yeah, so then he says that, and it's like the first person to be nice to me.
That day, definitely.
Or my whole life, yeah. And for some reason, to this day, I don't know why I did this. I sat right next to him.
There's nobody else in the green room.
No one else in the green room.
There's about 8 different chairs, seating positions.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just him sitting in, let's say, seat number 1, and you're like, "I'm going to number 2."
Picture a studio apartment living room.
Yeah.
That's enough space for 4 or 5 people to fit. And if you have the couch that we have, you could fit fucking 9 people, and no one's touching each other. Right. No one's even close to touching each other,
physically or emotionally.
Especially emotionally. And I sat down so close to him, our thighs touched.
Oh my God.
And he had to shift away.
Oh, fuck.
I don't know why.
And so you haven't, from the beginning, or when you first chose your seat, you have no clue.
Yeah.
He shifts. You didn't get the clue.
Didn't register that I sat too close. Except in my head, I was going, "What are you doing? What 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 are you doing?" Our thighs touch. He shifts, and I'm like, "Get up and go, get up and go." But I was like,
"But you didn't."
Nope. I was like, "You've made your choice.
Go on.
This is your choice now. This is where you live." And so now I'm sitting right next to Dag, as if we're either waiting for a bus or we're both on a date. Looking forward. He still has his headphones in. And I'm sitting here. And so I'm like, "So this is the time I'm going to make small talk with David Alan Grier."
Yeah. Who has headphones in.
And I did a whole bit about this I did a bit about people who don't wear headphones. And on the flip side of that, like if you're on an airplane and people are just listening to their shit. And on the flip side of that, people who don't know not to talk to you when you have headphones in. I've said out loud many times before this and after this, what are you doing? I have headphones in. Why?
Oh, fuck.
I didn't listen to my own advice. So I go, hey man, where do you live?
Oh God. And by the way, for anybody watching or listening, you're taking it at the pace that you did it at the time.
This is exactly how I did it.
So as uncomfortable as you hear this is how it went down real time. Yeah. So you're okay. Where do you live?
Where do you live?
Fucking awkward way to ask.
Yeah, and he goes, huh? And takes his headphone out and goes, L.A. I live in L.A. And I was like, cool. Puts his headphone back in. It's like, and I'm like, sweet. What's as I'm saying he's going, huh? What's the scene out? What's the comedy scene like out there?
The fuck? Like he's a fucking open micer.
Like he hasn't been in several television shows and movies.
What's the scene like? Because we're the same. We probably do the same type of gigs. You know, I've thought about going down there, killing it.
Yeah.
What's the scene like?
What's the scene like? This dude had a TV show with Jim Carrey. Yeah. He did a movie with Robin Williams. There are so many more questions to ask him than what's the comedy scene like in Los Angeles, which is an answer I already know. I already know that before I even get there. Oh. So he's like, I don't know, man.
Takes the headphones out.
Takes his head. He's out. It's out because I'd gone. Hey, will you talk to me? And he's like, you know, man, it's good. It's good. A lot of clubs out there. and then they go, cool. That sounds fun.
That sounds fun. Oh fuck! All right.
So like, huh? Takes his headphone out again. So is it always sunny? Is it always like really sunny out there?
Oh my God.
I don't know where this came from. I don't know why I did this. Is it always sunny out here? You know how like it's always rainy out here? Why would he know that? Why would he know that? And even if he does know that, why ask? Why ask? You know how it's always rainy out here? Is it like that but always sunny in California? He doesn't say a word. And he just puts his headphone back in his ear and goes back to doing this. Doesn't answer my question.
Just goes back to his phone. And I was like, uh-huh. And all of a sudden, I floated back into my body. And I was like, oh my God, what have I done? Yeah, right.
The waitress comes in with my tacos finally. And I just grab my tacos, one of my beers, and I get out. I just leave. I eat my tacos. The other feature gets off. David Alan Grier goes up, finish my beer, go in, chug my second beer, grab my bag, and I leave.
I was going to say, as the second feature got off, he probably was going to tell him good set, but after he saw what happened the first time, he probably would just either said nothing or was like, hey, man, you need to work on your shit. Something to give, like, get the fuck away from me. That last dude's a fucking weirdo.
Yeah, dude. And the feature was a comic named Courtney Shane Williams, who's really, really funny.
Shit. Yeah, Courtney's great.
And Courtney crushed. Courtney fucking crushed.
Oh, fuck.
So Courtney and then I just like didn't go in the green room. The rest of the weekend, I go in the green room.
Now, fuck, it's my favorite like green room bombing story. Have you ever talked to or worked with David Alan Grier after that weekend?
No, no. But I have told this story to comics who have worked or are known to have worked with David Alan Grier. And when I tell them the story, they're like, "That's so weird, dude," because he's the nicest guy
Yeah,
ever. He's one of the nicest dudes ever.
yeah, dude. When I worked with him, he has a, I don't know if he still does, but at the time he was into like there's no other way to say it, but like smoked meats, like curing meats and shit like that. And so he was like, "Hey man, there's some place in Seattle that's known for their like deli meats or meats or some shit." He's like, "You want to go down there? I'll buy you lunch or whatever." So we went down there and fucking great. And there was like a long line. He literally is the. But I mean, if you're a fucking psycho that sits next to the person, touches fucking thighs, oh god,
I
and
touched him,
dude.
I touched his leg with my leg.
Fuck, dude.
That is so intimate.
Oh, dude, I would love for somebody to be like, "Hey, man, do you remember a time, dude, and all this?"
And he's just like, "Yes, I do remember that."
Yeah, the fucking weirdo. Now, so and these since this is our first episode, kind of explaining the format as we do these, the person will tell their bombing story, and then, kind of like to close it out. What would you say you learned from that bomb?
What haven't I learned from that? I know everything I know about not being a psychopath, meeting anybody brand new with any. That's like after that, I met Brian Regan, and I think I had so much PTSD from that. Plus, he's like one of my heroes of comedy. I didn't say anything, so I went the complete opposite. He kept asking me questions. I didn't answer a single one of them because I had opened for his brother in Tacoma.
Oh yeah.
And I was the most excited. There was a bunch of Seattle comics. Kermit Apio was opening for him, and he was like, he saw how like stoked I was, and was like, "Hey, you want to meet him?" And I was like, "No, I don't." And he was like, "Great, come on to the back room." And I invited all these other comics, and we all go up. And here comes Brian into the green room and into one of the other rooms because he's doing a theater. He's meeting everybody, and I think it was Mitch who goes, our buddy Mitch. He's like, "Hey man, this guy opened for your brother last night."
Oh,
and Brian goes, "Oh, how was it?" And I was like, and he's like, "Great."
What the fuck?
I don't know what happened, man.
Well, like you said, you had fucking PTSD from the whole. So you just kind of just bobbed your head.
Yeah.
And they're just like, you gave like it was cool, but like non-verbally.
Yeah. And he tried to get me like into it. He goes, "Yeah, I was trying to get Dennis on the show tonight, but he had to get out of town, and we were going to like do stuff around the city. Probably would have been a really fun time." And I was just like,
I'm going to tell you to end on this kind of a quick Brian Regan bombing story. Brian Regan didn't bomb, but this is a story of, I guess you would say, kind of a interaction somebody had with Brian Regan bombing story. So Nick's Comedy Stop, my home club in Boston, oldest club running in Boston. I'm headlining there a weekend. Excuse me. And there's a guy that works there, Sammy, greatest dude, this old black dude that's worked there probably 20 plus years. He's got stories. I think he was telling us one time about like some bullets he's got stuck in him or bullet holes. He's been there for everything, right?
mm-hmm.
But he also is nicest guy. Like if he knows you, he's the best.
Mm-hmm.
But he also is like, doesn't give a fuck, outside of that shit, right?
Yeah.
I'm headlining my show, and Nick's has a hard stop at like I think 9:30 because then they turn the area into a nightclub. So as I'm doing Nick's, 120, 150 seater, sold it out. Don't need to brag.
Ugh,
but
gross.
Well, no, I say that because Brian Regan's across the street at the Wilbur, fucking probably 5,000 seater, sold that out.
Yeah.
But he just strolled over to Nick's Comedy Stop after his show. And, people are letting out. I'm whoring my merch as I do. And he walks in, and Jack Galvin was with me. And Jack's like you. He loves Regan. Like it's like one of his favorites. And he was like, "Oh, shit." And I was like, "Oh, fuck, it's Brian Regan." as I'm saying that, and Brian Regan's literally kind of just like looking at Nick's and kind of taking it in, like, oh, this, I don't know if he'd ever been there before, and it's just like, oh, this is Nick's. As he's doing that, Sam is like, all right, man, we need you to go. You got to get out of here, man. We can't have you in here. We got to clear us. And I'm like, Sammy, that's like Brian Regan is like, who? Yeah, I don't know, but we got to clear this out. We got a hard stop. We got to. And Brian Regan's just kind of like, oh, okay, all right, cool. Like he didn't try and like big time any of it, but he was just like, okay, all right, got it. And Sammy's just like, yeah, man, you can just get the fuck out of here. We got to turn the fucking room over. Oh,
that's awesome.
Love Sammy. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
But I want to thank you for doing the first episode of fucking Boo, Bombing Stories with Jay. And I know I'm going to have you back on for your Tacoma bombing. And some other ones. But what's your, give all your social media shit, anything you want to plug?
Yeah, you can follow me at Kane Holloway on Instagram, and you can go to DTBFF Podcast on Instagram. That's my, Don't Take Bullshit from Fuckers is my podcast that I do with Greg Barrett, who wrote He's Just Not That Into You. It's an advice show. We do it on All Things Comedy Network. It's pretty dope. So you can find it a lot of places. You can also go to kaneholloway.com. You can see a special that I filmed. You can get the audio version as an album. kaneholloway.com.
Also, I'll plug one other thing for you. He will be in St. Louis at Helium Comedy Club June 13th, being a special guest for me, along with To Hear More on my album recording. June 13th, St. Louis Helium Comedy Club. Until next time, fucking boo. I guess I don't know. I got to figure out like a tagline to end the podcast.
Didn't you run that by me? Didn't you have one that was like, and fucking nope, I don't have it.
Yeah, this is great. All right, so fucking
bombs away.
yeah, that's right. Bombardiers, bombs away. Bomb voyage. Fucking yuck. All right. Thanks, Kane. Appreciate it.
Later, man.
Bye.
Fucking boo.